Hey, I'm Rochelle. I'm the beauty and the comedic relief.
And I'm Bridget, the brains of the operation.
Come with us across Alberta where we show you some of the best people and places.
There might be some mess-ups and dumb jokes along the way, but we promise it'll be a lot of fun.
Hello.
Welcome back to our channel. This jacket is noisy and I hate my hair, so I'm never doing this again, but it's fine. We are back today, about to go into Volya Dance Ensemble, so we're super excited.
It's gonna be a fun time. Gonna learn some dance moves.
Woohoo. Stay tuned.
My name is Odessa Bahri, and I'm a dancer with the Volya Ukrainian Dance Ensemble, as well as a teacher with the Volya School of Ukrainian Dance, the Thorhild Ukrainian Dance Club, and the British Ukrainian Dancers.
Oh, wow. So you wear a lot of hats. So how long have you been in this industry?
I've been teaching now for about 10 years, and then I've been dancing with Volya for 8 years now.
Oh, wow. So which do you enjoy the most about dancing? Dancing, teaching, or choreography?
I love dancing, teaching, and choreographing. I love them all, but I definitely do love dancing the most.
Yeah.
I think when I'm doing choreography, I'm thinking, I would love to be doing this. And when I'm teaching, I'm thinking, I would love to be doing these exercises as well. So
Yeah.
definitely dancing is my favorite.
And so do you remember the first time you ever performed?
Yes, I do. Well, with Volya, I for sure do. It was 2015. We were in Greece, and I was doing my first hopak, which is the national dance of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it was electric. It was all of our first performance in Greece. So the crowd was amazing. It was such an amazing first performance to have.
That is insane that you went to Greece to perform.
It was so phenomenal, and the crowds there were just so receptive of us.
Yeah.
It was so lovely. Yeah.
And so is there, besides that one obviously, is there one performance that really stuck out to you?
In 2019, when we went to Dauphin, Manitoba, we did a performance at Canada's National Ukrainian Festival, and we did a joint performance with the Pavlichenko Folkloric Ensemble from Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And we had worked on a joint dance together, and I remember we did the whole show, and I was so tired, and I was like laying on the floor backstage, and then the music came on for this joint dance. And my adrenaline just went way up, and the crowd was just like insane for us to be dancing together, like sharing the stage.
Yeah.
was so cool. And we're actually doing that again in September with Pavlichenko. September 9th, we have a show at the Jubilee Auditorium with them. So
Oh, that's so exciting.
yeah, I get to relive it now. Yeah.
September 9th, everyone out there, set your calendars. And so what's your favorite thing about this art form?
My favorite thing about this art form is that I get to express my culture in such a unique way. I get to, represent these stories from the past that not a lot of people might know about, that I get the privilege of presenting to the crowd, and it's such an emotional thing for sure.
It really is. And so why did you get into Ukrainian dancing?
Ukrainian dancing has actually been a part of my entire life. My dad moved here from Ukraine, and there he was one of the primary dancers of the Bukovina State Ensemble. And so he came here and he became like a teacher everywhere, and then he became the artistic director of Volya as well. And so I just grew up in the studio. I was like in a jolly jumper in the corner, or like sitting in his office or whatever. So it's always been a part of my life for sure. Yeah.
And so how do you find the Ukrainian dance scene in Alberta?
It is vast for sure. There's so many groups in Alberta, which is amazing that there's so many of us that want to uphold this part of our culture. And it's very supportive as well. Like at places like UFest and Vegreville Pisanka Festival, when we all get together, we're all so supportive of each other and just have so much fun together.
Yeah. And no, you can definitely see that, like when you guys are performing. You guys are going to see the clips later on. You guys look like just like one big family. You guys are very cohesive. It's beautiful to watch. So what's one thing that you find most difficult about dance?
I think as a dancer, you're always challenging yourself. Once you kind of master one trick or one piece of technique, you have to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And you're always challenging yourself. And sometimes it gets to a point where you think, what else can I do here? But you always find something, because they say there's always someone better than you. So, yeah.
And so what's the hardest dance move you need to teach?
To teach, it's going to sound kind of silly, but skipping is the hardest thing to teach, because kids either already know how to skip, or it'll just come at some point. You cannot teach it. That is what I've learned in my 10 years.
That's so random that you say that, because I forgot how to skip. I've been trying to learn and I have no idea. It's so hard. Do you have a favorite dance move though?
I do. They're called hop renversé turns.
Could you show us if you
can.
don't mind? My goodness. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. And so why is that your favorite dance?
It was just a trick I learned kind of like closer to my beginning stages of being in this group, and maybe it's just like the fond memories that are attached to it. Yeah.
What's your biggest success in dance so far?
So every performance is a success for sure, but because I've grown up in the studio and I've seen so many dancers come through here, it's been so amazing to perform those dances that I watched when I was tiny in the studio. Like Magic Heels, which is a dance that we have, which is only 4 girls that do a lot of stamping and high kicks and turning, and it's just been such a pleasure to get to do those things that I grew up watching, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of going back to the interview. So you said you went to Greece. Is there any other cool places you've been?
Yeah, so actually Volya travels internationally every summer. So,
that's so cool.
Last year we went to Portugal. We went to the Azores Islands. And then before that we were in Croatia and Slovenia, and then we went to Colombia. Before that was Greece, and then a lot of these dancers have traveled a little bit more than I have too, that have been here a little bit longer, but those are some of the places I've been to.
And so do you have a favorite spot?
Ooh. I loved, for sure Portugal, hands down Portugal. It was just because we were such a family then that it just felt like we were just a bunch of friends just on the stage having fun almost, and didn't even feel like work or like a performance or something.
And so what keeps you dancing?
These people, for sure. I've just made so many friends here, and it's been so amazing to, make so many relationships in such a short amount of time. It feels like with COVID and stuff, it kind of got cut, but we've just stayed so close, and I love, this is like a safe place for me. I love spending time here. Spending time with these people is just so special.
You said something about COVID, so how was that coming back after the year you guys have been gone?
It was definitely difficult because, it was weird at first. You're so used to being the 6 feet apart, like no partner work, when this is like a very partner-based art. But we kind of sprung right back into it. Like, we were so excited to just be together and be dancing in the studio together and breathing the same air,
And so what age range is your group?
Right now we have anywhere from 15 to about 49 is our oldest dancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so what inspires you to dance, or who inspires you to dance?
Like I said, it's been a part of my whole life. So like my dad was a huge inspiration. And because he was the artistic director here, my mom also danced here, and my uncles danced here, and then my uncle met his wife here. And so it's just a whole family affair. So my family definitely, instilled the inspiration at first. And my closest friends definitely still inspire me to keep going here. Yeah.
And so do they still dance as well?
My aunties and uncles, or my friends?
Your friends, both.
My friends, yes, they're for sure. They're in this room. Okay. And my aunties and uncles, no, they've got kids now, so they've moved on,
And so what skills from dance do you use in your everyday life?
Something that our artistic director always says is, it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. So I kind of think of that every day, like, okay, great, I'm doing this task, but am I doing it to my full extent? Am I doing it, the best that I could be doing it? And so I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway, and also just like pulling up and having good posture and things like that. Yeah.
I know Bridget used to dance, like you do Ukrainian dancing, and she wanted to do hip hop, and her mom was like, no, you're going to ruin your posture.
So hard. It's so hard to get down.
And so is there something that you wished people knew about Ukrainian dancing?
I wish people knew not just how impressive it is, but how beautiful it is, and every single thought that goes behind pieces of choreography. For example, we have a willow dance, and it's not just like we're holding these like green leaves or whatever, it was about a willow tree that the director saw, and he saw it in a storm, and it was like breaking and thrashing around and all these things, and then the next day it was just like completely fine, and that's what this whole dance is about. But you would never like think of that when you just like first see it. So those thoughts behind these dances, I think, is what I wish people would know.
And so how was it working with your dad?
You know what? At first it was really hard because we were like figuring out the transition and stuff, and it was tough, and like getting corrections, and then on the way home, like having to drive together was like a little weird. But you know what? I really love it now. Like, it's a place that we really value our time together, and it's really special. And my brother's in here too as well, so
that's so
it is quite special.
And so is there any advice you'd give to aspiring dancers?
Don't give up. everyone gets to a point where they feel like they're going to give up, but just keep treading through the hard stuff. And that's what I think, like, even just with dance steps, like, you know, out of a turn, maybe you're falling, keep going, just keep trying, keep going through the hard stuff is what I say to my students all the time. So keep trucking on through the hard stuff, for sure.
And so your students, who do you teach? What age range? Are you just...
I teach all the way from 4 years old to right now my oldest is 16. And well, actually I also teach an adult group in Thorhild. So yeah, so all over the map for sure. Yeah.
And so do you have like a favorite, maybe not group is the right word, but a favorite like age range?
Age range?
Yeah.
I love the littles. I love the littles because it's so cool to watch them, you know, learn and get those dance steps for the first time and things like that. It's just so fun. And they like love magic. So, you know, things can be so magical with them.
Yeah. So what do you do outside of dancing?
Outside of dancing, I'm a preschool teacher at the Kalina Kids program at St. Martin's Elementary School. And then I also am a university student at the University of Alberta.
And so what are you taking?
I'm majoring in psychology, so I'm getting my Bachelor of Arts degree right now. Oh, wow. And then the plan is to get an after degree in education because I just love kids that much.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of going back to when you traveled for dance. Do you have like a dream destination that you'd be able to dance at?
I've never danced in Ukraine, and I think it would be so special to take this back there and show them what we've been working on. We were supposed to go to Ukraine actually, and then COVID happened. So classic, you know. But my Baba's still there, and so I'd really love to show her what we've been doing and what my dad has been creating here in Canada.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. Yeah, that would be such like an emotional performance.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is there someone you'd like to dance with?
I would love to one day do a performance with all my family members that were in Volya. I think that'd be so special. Even to just share the stage with my dad would be like a dream come true for sure. Yeah. So that would be really special.
And so your dad doesn't dance anymore? Or?
Oh no. No, this is his job now.
What is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Artistic director always says genius and simplicity. And I'll end it at that.
I like that. Yeah. What do you love about your studio?
I love that we are such a family and that we get to travel so much together. It is so special, and that we spend just so much time working together, but it never really feels like work. It's just a fun place to be. Yeah. And like we're coming up on a summer of a lot of work because of, you know, our Jubilee show that's happening. But I think we're all just excited to go on that stage and perform together. And we have like a workshop coming up in Saskatoon with that other ensemble, Pavlichenko, that we're working with. And I think we're all just excited to be together and just like bond and dance. And everyone's here to work hard. And that's what I really love about this place. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually excited because you guys are going to UFest tomorrow, right?
We are going to UFest. We're at UFest on Saturday. We're performing at 6:30 and 7 o'clock.
Good to know. I'm excited. I'll be looking out for you guys.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so I'm really excited to see this. I love Ukrainian dancing. Fun fact about me. Bridget got me into it. It's very beautiful.
Yeah. Nobody sees this part of any sort of performance ever, whether it be dance or like acting or even sports activities like hockey games and stuff. You never see their practices. You never see the behind the scenes. You never see the practice. And now we can't tell. We might not even be in frame. That's fair. You never see like all the behind the scenes stuff that goes into it, which is super fun.
No, yeah, I think it's very cool. I think Ukrainian dancing is so beautiful. I'm like not even like just because we're here. I think it's such a beautiful like art form, and like even like the props and all the emotion that's behind it. I think it's great. So yeah,
we're excited. I think they're gonna start soon. So.
Going to UFest today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We're super excited. So come on with us.
My name is Daria Luciu, and I am currently Vice President of the UFest Society and co-chair of our coordinating committee here for the festival itself.
Oh my goodness, that must keep you very busy.
Oh, we've been busy. We've been very, very busy, but we're so glad that we can be out and doing this. Of course, like everybody else, we were down for 2 years during the pandemic. Yes. And so last year we relaunched, and this year bigger than better than ever.
Yay! So excited for the festival. And so how long have you worked with UFest?
Since day one. I was the one who said, why don't we have a Ukrainian festival in Edmonton? And a few other people heard me because I said it out loud. And then a very, very talented group of people came together and started working to make this happen. So the society itself actually formed in 2016. The conversations began in 2015. Then we started our society, and we had our first event in 2018.
Oh my goodness. And what was that process like, going from like nothing per se to an entire festival with a vendor village and the kids corner and huge performances? Like, what was that like?
Initially daunting, I have to be honest. It was, it was a big learning curve, but the Edmonton community, and certainly the Ukrainian community, is well known for volunteerism, and we have volunteers from all walks of life, all kinds of professions and experiences, and have come together and have really developed a pretty smooth operating ship here in terms of just planning everything. So we learned. We were also able to lean on other festivals who've been around for much longer, connect with them, ask them things, ask for references and suggestions, and they provided them. And we put all that together, gathered all those resources, and basically started developing the whole plan and show flow, and here we are.
Wow. And so for anyone who is unfamiliar with UFest, are you able to talk a little bit about the festival and what it's all about?
Oh, I can for a long time. So UFest is about basically sharing our Ukrainian culture with anybody who wishes to come and join us. It is a free, family-friendly event, and during the festival there are activities for pretty much anybody. There are 18 hours of performances and music over the course of 2 days. There is a large food area. This year we have 5 food tents and 10 food trucks. We have over 20 vendors in our vendor village. We have about 10 artists in our Art in the Village. We have a beautiful Cossack Kids Zone, and there's all kinds of activities for kids to take part in. Some of them more Ukrainian themed, some general craft activities. Of course, there's a sport area that they can go kick a ball around and burn off some steam. And we have a petting zoo as well. There are lots of displays and sharing of information where people can go in and see more about our Ukrainian culture. We have our community pavilion tent, which will feature this year 14 different organizations from our community, from everything from social services to the various dance groups to camps, anything like that. So there's a lot of information that's being shared there. And of course, we have a guest culture joining us this year. In 2022, we added a new component to our UFest lineup, and that was a guest culture. So last year, we were very proud to present our Indigenous community as our guest culture, and this year we have the Polish community. And Poland is Ukraine's geographic neighbor and has been helping Ukraine an awful lot in the last year and a bit, and we just thought it very appropriate that they also be our guest culture this year at UFest.
That's amazing. And what is that like, partnering with like having a guest culture come in?
It's delightful. I think, we attract a very diverse audience to UFest, and we love that. You know, it's not just for Ukrainians, and that should be said, you know, first and foremost. It's for anybody who wants to come and take in this beautiful blue sky and enjoy everything that we have to offer over these 2 days. But it's also a chance to get to learn more about our Edmonton community, and that includes our cultural communities. So being able to work with the Polish community in particular this year is actually really a first time for us that way, because so many communities are busy doing their own thing and really working within their communities. But an opportunity to come together and to do something together, we've been enjoying that an awful lot.
That's amazing.
And we're ready to announce our 2024 guest culture. Over the course of UFest, it shall be announced.
Oh, okay. Keep me on the edge of my seat. I'm so ready. And so, in your opinion, you kind of spoken to it a bit, but what are some of the highlights for you from UFest based on your experience for so long?
The highlights, interesting. I think they come more from the people side. For me, they come from meeting so many wonderful people who come out to take in everything we have to offer, but then getting to know a lot of volunteers that, you know, we're not a large city, we're not a big community, but we're sizable. But still, you think you know a lot of people. Well, you do an event like this when you have over 400 volunteer shifts, and you get to meet a lot of wonderful people. So that has been very fulfilling. And this year in particular, we've been very, very grateful to have volunteers who arrived from Ukraine over the past year as they fled the war. And they are just wonderful people and want to get to know our community and meet people and get involved. And there's a lot of, it just feels really good. I feel very grateful being able to meet so many wonderful people. And so you have the volunteer side that way, and you have all these other vendors who we knew some of them, we didn't know all of them, but that they want to be a part of this and just get involved. It's very gratifying that way.
Absolutely. And I think too, there's that element of it being bittersweet for having volunteers that have come, because it's sweet because you're meeting, you know, people from there who like share the heritage and the culture, but it's also that bitterness and that sadness of like they've had to leave the culture and the lifestyle that they've been so accustomed to in order to come here.
Yes, and be safe.
And be safe.
Yeah. It is bittersweet. I think you phrased that well, because exactly for those reasons that you said. And there is a whole learning curve for them, because so many of them have said, we had no idea that Ukrainians here or any other part of the world were as active and as many as there actually are, nor did they understand just what an organized community is all about. And so they've had now firsthand opportunity to see that and be involved as a volunteer as well. And there'll be many, many more who'll be coming out over the course of the 2 days of the festival to take it all in and see what goes on in our communities. So it's a welcoming for them too, to help them feel at home, and maybe just give them a little bit of home and not feel so lonely. And really important for them to broaden their social circles so that they're not isolated.
Absolutely. And I think too, like, there's the beauty in that of having no beauty in enduring the hard time, but I mean being able to step away and still come out to the festival and still put yourself out there and dive in and like meet people and broaden your scope, as you were saying, because I think, actually I shouldn't speak because I have no experience with that, but I could imagine after enduring such a hard thing, like just being able to get out of bed in the morning and to like do everything and be an amazing human being, like it's just incredible.
Yes. And you know, it's interesting. I was speaking with a few of the volunteers earlier today as we were setting up and talking about just that, and also saying how we as organizers, and we're all volunteers because UFest is 100% volunteer driven, but as organizers, how torn we have been last year and this year with the event, because we're putting on 2 days of a cultural celebration, and yet we're all feeling what's going on in Ukraine, and we monitor the war daily, and many of us still have family there, and it's difficult, and so we also feel that sort of bittersweet side of things, and so we feel that as they do. But as they said, you know what, it has been a reprieve for them to come and forget about that for a while, to do something positive here, or if they're coming as guests, just to enjoy and see and learn. And so I think it's, it's difficult, but yet at the same time, it has a very positive side to putting on a festival while people are struggling in some ways.
Absolutely, and I think that there's so much benefit from that for them and for everyone else, because I think it also gives an opportunity for them to maybe even share their story if they're comfortable with that, and kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel in a sense. I
think that's very true. And we've kind of been hearing that a little bit when we've had time to connect more with them and have conversations as we're working together. We're certainly hearing that as well.
And so with the festival, what has been your favorite part?
There's so many things that I'm really enjoying. I'm a proud Ukrainian, and our roots in Alberta and Canada go back to 1905, when my family came as part of the first wave of Ukrainian pioneers coming to Canada. And so I wear my blue and yellow stripes proudly, but I'm also a very proud Canadian. And so I feel grateful that I have an opportunity to share that with others and just enjoy all that we have to offer and show, and to see joy in other people's faces. I mean, over the course of the days, you have kids dancing in front of the stage and families just sitting on the grass enjoying their time together. And, that's just so heartwarming. And it brings a lot of pride and joy and feel-good moments.
Absolutely. It sounds like such a positive environment and experience for everyone. And so how do you hope that the attendees feel when they're walking the grounds of the festival?
Well, I certainly hope that they would feel some of that as well, because it is a very celebratory environment as we celebrate our culture. And I hope that they also feel positive that, Edmonton can offer this festival and offer many other festivals as well, but that they can come out and enjoy something like this in their backyard, so to speak. And so I hope that they feel the joy and the joy in being able to experience this, and the pride in knowing that they can do this in Edmonton.
I think it's so interesting too, because I was speaking with I'm writing a play, so I was speaking with the lighting designer, but he was mentioning to me that Canada at the time, this might be outdated now, but it had the third, I think out of everywhere in the world, it had the third largest Ukrainian population, everywhere.
I think it's, outside of Ukraine. So if you include Ukraine, it would be third. If you didn't include Ukraine, it would be the second largest.
Yeah, and that's so amazing. Because I think here there's a lot, we have the festival and dance groups and Ukrainian bilingual programs. And it's just... it goes back to that history, right? So having been here for over 130 years, we've had that opportunity to, families have brought over other family members, and because you establish a community, any Ukrainians who choose to emigrate may choose this because there is an established community. There are community organizations, there are churches, there are halls, and they can relate to that, and there's somewhere that's welcoming and makes it, that transition, that little bit easier. So when you have that much history, and I would imagine it's similar to a lot of other ethnic groups that have been here for a long time, that you've become established as a community, and so it's easier for others to come out and to join you. So we've attracted many people that way. We've had several ways of significant immigration to Canada, and certainly now we're seeing another one with the war as people are fleeing Ukraine. And so I think that the community will continue to grow and flourish. Absolutely, I completely agree. And coming back to the festival here, are there any hidden gems that you would say that maybe go unnoticed, or?
I really, I love art and culture, and that all goes together. But there are so many talented artists in our community, and we are showing a few of them here over the course of 2 days at UFest. Really look at the art, because it's so different, and it's not things you're going to see perhaps in a gallery or someplace that you may frequent that has art. It's different, and yet it is very well crafted. It's very well done. It's unique, and it's something you won't find unless you're here.
Absolutely. We were walking in, and we were stopping to look at the art. I was like, "Oh, should I buy a hat?" And I was like, "No, we're here to do things. We have to do everything first and come back later."
Well, I always love supporting arts communities. I mean, certainly the Ukrainian artistic community, but art in general, because they get lost sometimes. And when people have only so much in their budget, perhaps art isn't a priority. But here's somewhere you have a big selection, and it's not expensive. So, it's an opportunity to come look and enjoy and browse. Or if you really see something you like, you can certainly bring it home with you.
Absolutely. And what is something you wish people knew about UFest and the festival?
That it's not just for Ukrainians. It is for anybody. We love seeing our diverse audiences here, and everybody is welcome. Come one, come all.
I think even, I know the festival isn't in action just yet, but even just coming in, I think what's the word I'm looking for? The atmosphere. Thank you so much. The atmosphere is just so positive, and everyone's been nice, and it's just, I really hope that people know that it's not just for Ukrainians, because this atmosphere and the vibe that even I've gotten in the short time that we've been here is so positive, and I think anyone could use that in their life.
That's so nice to hear. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we want to convey. I mean, we have an opportunity. We have good weather. We have a safe community, and so let's come out and enjoy it. And like I say, there's something here for everyone. And a lot of families will be able to come and take in a Saturday here on site, and the kids will be happy. And there's ice cream. So something to keep you cool as well.
Yeah, and it gives you a break from them for a moment. You can let them run around and
kick a ball
around, and you can just
pet a baby goat, something. Yeah.
And then they'll tell you that they want a pet goat, and then it'll start a
I want a pet goat.
That would actually be really awesome.
Yeah.
So I see why they would want that. And so we'll just wrap up here with the last question. This is my favorite question. It's very broad and not specific to anything in general, but what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life? No pressure with it either. We've gotten things of, my mom always said, wash behind your ears.
Well, I think for me, it is about being true to yourself. And that's why in part you find me here, because being true to me, being true to myself, is being true to my Ukrainian heritage as well. And like I said, I wear my colors on my sleeve that way, and so being true to yourself, no matter who you are, I think is sometimes in some situations perhaps challenging and difficult, but I think as more and more people allow that to happen and allow themselves to be true to themselves, it'll become a better world.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Olesya Matsky, and I represent Wounded Volunteers Fund Society, which was established in Canada in 2014. At that time, it was the war that started on the east of Ukraine, and some people from Alberta decided to help soldiers who are returning from the war from the east. And we wanted to support them with medication, with some medical supplies, and that's when our organization started. Right now it's a full-scale war, unfortunately, and it's still on in Ukraine, so we keep doing our work, our volunteer work. What we do, we have different small things, souvenirs for sale, and our volunteers selling them, and with that proceeds from those items, we are buying medication, supporting wounded soldiers with their needs, evacuees in Ukraine who left home on the east and coming to the west of Ukraine. They need everything, right? They left their homes. So we are supporting them with different items, as again, medication, just everyday items that are needed for human being to go through that hard time.
And so how long have you been involved with the organization?
The war started 2014, and we starting our organization registered actually in 2015. It's already 8 years that we are in Alberta, well known as Wounded Volunteers Fund Society, non-profit organization that registered in Alberta.
And how has it been for you working with the organization?
Thanks God, it's a challenge sometimes, because you have to volunteer in Canada, and in the same time you would need to go over there and volunteer in Ukraine, bring all this help. But it feels good because we are supporting our people in Ukraine, we are supporting our soldiers, so it's going well.
And so you were saying that you come back and forth between Canada and Ukraine? And so where are you from originally?
I'm from the western part. It's Lviv, so it's, as I mentioned, it's a full-scale war, but the war situation is on the east of Ukraine, so in this matter we are a little bit better on the west than people on the east of Ukraine. Yeah, I'm a little bit, I just returned from Ukraine, so for me, my English coming back, I just returned 4 days ago, actually.
You're doing amazing.
Yeah,
so.
Thank you. Sorry about my broken English.
No, do not apologize at all.
Still in my head to do some translation.
Yes.
Yeah, and right now at the UFest, we are participating again, and volunteers selling small items, and with this proceeds, as I mentioned, we will just buy items that our soldiers need, and will support our people who are in need in Ukraine.
And that's amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ladies.
So my name is Lydia Fialka, or Lydia Fialka, and I am one of the Special Attraction Committee co-chairs. And I help organize some of the events that are taking place at UFest. So where we are at right now, at the photo booth. So we have vinke and a number of other different costumes and pieces that are traditional to Ukrainian culture that people can adorn and take photos. So highly recommend it. And then we also have a couple of new attractions this year, so I can talk more about that later.
Yeah, okay. And so what made you want to volunteer at UFest?
So the story of me getting into volunteering at UFest was I was cornered very kindly by my neighbor who had been on the planning committee since the festival started. And so I just said yes. Yeah, I didn't even think to say no.
Aw. And so how long have you been volunteering with UFest?
So this is my second year with UFest now. Yeah.
And what is your favorite part of UFest?
Ooh. That's a really good question.
Too many good things.
So I would say as an organizer, one of my favorite things is just seeing the people come out, not just Ukrainians, but really all Edmontonians that come to visit the festival. Talk to them, see what brought them out, if there's, if it was the free entertainment or the kids' activities. But really I would say as an organizer is just seeing the space animated and transformed from just a flat park to a space that really anyone can come to and enjoy something. There's something for everyone here. As if I were just attending, not wearing my organizer hat, I would say probably getting together with a group of friends, having a beer, trying out some really great street food, and watching the entertainment. But that's also because I don't have kids. So
you don't have kids to dump off in the kids zone. Leave them at the petting zoo,
Exactly.
And are there any hidden gems in the festival that you think kind of go a little too unnoticed?
So this year, I will say the new hidden gem, because it's the first time we're having it, is I guess it's called the Express Train. So I guess if we think back to West Edmonton Mall, Fantasyland, I'm pretty sure there was a train that went around it, was there not? Yeah, so we have a trackless train that's coming to UFest this year, and I think it'll be a hit for, adults and kids alike. I actually drove it.
That's so
But there will be a driver here.
Okay.
And everyone else is welcome to ride it.
Can we request you as our driver?
You could. Yeah, and we'll be playing some great Ukrainian and English music as well, so it'll be a party bus for kids.
I love it. That's so fun. And so do you have a favorite tent, event, or food truck at the festival this year?
Ooh, again, a very good question. I would say in terms of the food truck, last year, I don't remember exactly which one it was, but they had an incredible chicken and waffles.
Ooh.
I had never tried them before, and I want to say it was a maple bourbon sauce that was drizzled on top. So it was just delicious.
That's amazing.
So that's the food truck. And then in terms of a favorite tent, I'm biased, but I absolutely loved the photo booth. Just to see people of all different cultures coming to try on Ukrainian cultural clothing and pieces, and ask about it. I just thought that was really fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then they can learn more and...
Yeah. So not all of our volunteers are Ukrainian, and that's totally cool. But there are Ukrainian names, right, to all of the pieces that we have out. And if anyone is curious to learn more, they can always ask. But otherwise, they can walk away with a really pretty photo and a memento of UFest for free.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And so what do you think for you is the most rewarding part of volunteering?
Yeah, so I would say in particular now, just with everything that's, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, I think it's extremely important for us as a community to come together. But yeah, just I think the resilience of the Ukrainian community, the culture that we're still maintaining and sharing with others in Edmonton that are curious to learn more. But I think for me, given kind of the state of the world and Ukraine, I think it's really important to maintain that.
Yeah, I completely agree. We were talking to a couple other people, and they were mentioning how some of the volunteers and some of the people have come from Ukraine, and how and we were talking about how it was bittersweet in a sense of it's amazing that the culture and sharing and getting to know other people, but the bitterness and the sadness that's literally having to leave your home and your culture and what you're used to, but also the beauty in the ability to withstand everything that's kind of been thrown at you and still come out to the festival and still get to know people in other places. And it's a crazy world. I just don't have words.
Yeah, 100%. No, and that's very well said in terms of last year there was a volunteer, Maria, chatted with her, and I really hope that we see more Ukrainian refugees come and help out, and whether it's they come to volunteer or they just want to come to get to know other people in the community, that's what we're here for. And equally, I would say, would love to learn more from them about how our culture has evolved. I've heard from family just when I visited in Ukraine and when they've come here to visit, that when they talk to me, it sounds like they're talking to their grandparents, because that's the language that was spoken at the time. And so it's really cool to see how we can kind of live in a bubble, right? Of I'll say this historic bubble that's contemporary, and it's really, really neat. And I'm just very proud to have had a family that prioritized and just instilled Ukrainian culture and traditions from an early age. So maybe I'll just start with my last name, so Fialka. It means violet, like the flower. So anytime I've gone to Ukraine, folks right away will tell me that it's a beautiful last name, and it's also not very common, so it's something that I'm very proud of. In terms of family here, Ukrainian was my first language, and I'm a third-generation Canadian, so babcia and dido, so that's grandma and grandpa, they came from Ukraine and also Poland. Which on that note, Poland is our guest culture here, so there's a lot of interconnectedness right between the two countries and also the cultures. In terms of family and where they're from in Ukraine, so my family is from Western Ukraine. They're primarily from Ivano-Frankivsk Oblast, so that's the province Ivano-Frankivsk. There's also a city with the same name, and we have family there currently. They were actually just here visiting, so shout out to Teta Ira and Tanya if they're listening to this.
We can send it to them.
But other than that, we also have family in Salo, so that's a little town that's close to, or I guess a village is a better translation, in that same province. And then on the other side of the family, they're from Lviv, which I have heard described as the most romantic city in, I'm going to say in Europe. Absolutely, for sure, the most romantic city in Ukraine. It's, yeah, if anyone has an opportunity to go there, I would definitely encourage it.
And so you've been to Ukraine, so you've been to all these cities that you're mentioning?
I have, yes. So I've been to Ukraine 3 times now. The first time was, I'll date myself, probably 10 years ago. So this was early high school with Kursy Ukrainoznavstva, so that's Saturday school. And yeah, so that was just incredible. You know, it was effectively a school group, right? So that experience was a little bit different, and we were also, you know, still kids. But that was the first time I had a chance to meet family, and I had 2 pairs of shoes, runners and heels. And if anyone has ever been to Ukraine, the women there, A, are stunning, B, they wear heels, and they walk expertly on cobblestone roads. Oh my goodness. So here I was thinking, I've never met my family before, you know, dressed to impress. Worst mistake. So yeah, wore those heels, and needless to say, the feet were elevated for the rest of that evening. But yeah, fast forward to a couple of years ago, 2018, 2019, visited, just by myself, and then also with my immediate family, and that was extremely special. I was able to see the house where my Dilo Miso grew up in, visit the family gravesite, which sounds sad, but it's actually a very, very happy place. They only allow real flowers, and so it's truly beautiful. And in terms of getting around Ukraine, they're, I'm going to say poyizd because I think in Ukrainian first, so that's the train. Makes it very, very easy to get around and see things. So yeah, that was really our primary mode of transportation all throughout Ukraine. And we kind of started off in Kyiv, went through to Lviv, so that's now heading east from Kyiv to Lviv, and then down south to the mountains and back to see family. So all in all, it's I would really encourage everyone, if you have a chance, to go to Ukraine. It's just such a beautiful country. The people are so welcoming. You can stop at a kava cafe, like not quite like the one we have here at UFest, but you can stop at a cafe, have some coffee, have some chocolate. It's a slower pace of life, and it's really quite beautiful.
And what was your favorite part? Like, was there one thing that stood out to you as like the best moment ever?
I would say that for me it was meeting family and just getting to know them a little bit better and learn more about the history of, you know, the family that stayed behind, and understand how we're still connected that way. So that's the personal side. Wearing my 18-year-old party hat, they serve some pretty incredible drinks.
Good to know.
And yeah, you can definitely make it to one city, have a great night, hop on a train and make it back safely. That's another story though for a different day.
That's so awesome. Oh my gosh. And so you visited Ukraine 3 times. What am I trying to ask here? What is it like for you living in like Canada and Alberta in comparison to Ukraine? Like, how do you think the culture translates? But also, like, obviously there are pieces that are completely different, but
yeah, I would say in terms of first time there, definitely was a culture shock. I'm used to how Canadian cities are built, and so, i.e. just very spread out. You need a car to get around. it's very much a hustle culture here, where it's like you're always on the go, you're eating on the go. And going to Ukraina, obviously their buildings are quite a bit older. There's a lot more history there. And so that's actually one of my favorite things, is just being able to walk around and take in all of that culture that's etched into the buildings and into that landscape. I think is just incredible, because that's something we just don't have here. We're not an old enough country to have that. So, I mean, other things, naturally, I would say I was able to get around with the Ukrainian that I learned. You know, a number of people asked if I was Polish, and now I know that a lot of the words I was taught were actually Polish, and that's all good too. I'll say it was a Ukrainianized Polish. Yeah, and then just on that topic, so here being a hustle culture there, you know, in Kyiv, it was very much a fast-moving city. But I would say in other areas of Western Ukraine, Ivano-Frankivsk, Lviv, Yaremcha, I would say it was a much slower pace of life, which I had never experienced before. And it was really nice to slow down and, again, just spend some time with family and not be looking at a clock. The most difficult thing to get used to was the 8 or 9 p.m. dinners. Yeah, I was pretty hungry. Oh, actually, that's a lie. It was the fact that I did not have a single glass of normal water for 2 weeks. I was offered tea or coffee or sparkling water, which I didn't like at the time, mind you. Now that's all I drank. I had never been so thirsty in my life.
Oh no. That would be the worst. Like just needing a cold glass of water and then a tea. It would
Like,
it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, I just wanted a glass of the Sask, and that was not available. No,
Just
no,
not
no.
an option. Never heard of her. No.
Yeah, I mean, you can't drink the water from the tap there, but so that's part of it. Like, you just don't have the access. You'd have to go out and get it. And I was too shy to let family know that I would like just normal water. So I just accepted whatever they gave.
You're like, this is perfect. Thank you so much.
with natural milk that was straight from a cow. I had also never seen that before. So what kind of Ukrainian am I?
I mean, interesting. I've never seen that either.
I mean, I definitely prefer my half and half.
Yeah.
Cream. So, you know,
no, that's
all
fair. And so would you ever, obviously when the war is over, would you ever want to go back or even like move?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because when I was there, and I'll say when I was in the village where my grandpa was from, I just wanted to uproot and move and learn how to farm the land and be around the animals. And I mean, I'm allergic, so that may be a little bit challenging, but
there's Benadryl. Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would love to maybe not necessarily move there, but I would in a heartbeat travel back to Ukraina and just take extended vacations, because it's somewhere that I still feel very connected to, and whether it's helping to rebuild after the war, or going back to help with their economy and getting that tourism back up. Yeah, absolutely. And I would invite, again, all of my friends, anyone who's listening, please, if you have not been to Ukraina, put it on that list. You will not be disappointed. Every city has something different to offer. And yeah, just add it to the list.
I want to go so bad. One day.
You'll go.
One day. And so if you could describe UFest in one word, what would it be and why?
I'm going to give 2 answers.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to say, first I'd say UFest is a very vibrant festival. Not only in the various, I mean, you can see that in the vendors, in the art, all of the pieces, whether you're just here to see it or take a piece home with you. yeah, there's just so many things to see and do, and on a beautiful day nonetheless. So fingers crossed that'll continue. So I would say UFest is a party. There's just so much, not only just, the incredible new beers that we're bringing out, but also the tasty food, the great company. It really makes for a fantastic evening.
And so do you have any advice for festival goers?
So maybe what I'll start off by saying is take a peek at our website. So if you search UFest on Google, it'll be the first link that comes up. And take a look at everything that is going on. We have a schedule online. So if you have a peek at that, you'll be sure to not be disappointed, right? Because you can plan around what you want to see and what you want to do. I'd also encourage people to take a look at the parking situation before you show up. And there's also alternative modes of transportation. So if you're nearby, you can always walk, cycle, or if you're a little bit further away, transportation or public transportation does come over here as well. So you can do that. What else? I would really just encourage people to, when you're at the festival, take the time to stop it. If you're just kind of moseying around and you're taking a peek at the booth, just come in and say hi. Whether it's a vendor, whether it's a volunteer that you see, would really welcome you to just stop at any booth that you're interested in and to learn a bit more. We're really fortunate. It's a beautiful day. So also, reminder to bring a hat, sunglasses, sunscreen if you're very pale like me. Just and water. Just really make sure that you come prepared for the weather so that your experience can be an enjoyable one, and so that you can stay as long as you can and be comfortable.
And on that note, bringing a reusable water bottle because there's the water fill station here.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, glass of the Sask with Epcor. So, great catch.
Yeah. What is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life? No pressure, though. Sounds like a very daunting, important question, but we've gotten all sorts of answers.
I think one of the, I won't be able to say it verbatim, but just in a nutshell, to be authentic to yourself. I think it's very easy to get caught up, whether it be social media, how you think people see you, how you want people to see you. And at the end of the day, if you're just yourself, I think it's easier to make those natural connections. Embrace the awkwardness. I have to.
We all do.
But yeah, I think just really be authentic is my advice to folks.
That's awesome advice.
And people can tell when you're not.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's when they turn around and walk the other way.
Absolutely. And people, as much as I think people get nervous of like being awkward or being too much themselves, that's what people adore, having a personality, being yourself, that's what draws people to you,
Yeah.
You find people who are similar to you too, and then it's just always a good time.
Yeah. And then I can give automatically my head goes to work because clearly that's where all my time goes.
Yeah.
The other piece of advice that I found very good, not like on a personal side, but just like at a work level, is every day is an interview. So it's about how you show up. It's not just about that one day. And I think, again, it kind of ties into that piece about being authentic. Because, if you wear one hat and then you completely shift, again, it's noticeable. And it's just about doing the best job that you can, regardless of where you're at. If it's volunteering, if it's at the office, that's my advice.
Name's Tamara Karas. I'm an artist of Topiret's artworks, so it's lino cut prints.
And so how long have you been making your art?
About 6 years now. Decided to just explore something new from what I used to do as pisanke and just other carving.
Oh, okay. And so you said you just decided to try something new.
Branch out.
Oh, okay. So
yeah. So I used to do pisanke. So with the Easter eggs, they're quite a few hours go into one.
Yeah.
And I started doing different fundraisers with them, and then I wanted something that was a little bit more reproducible. And so then I ventured into doing some different carving, like traditional Ukrainian carving. And one thing led to another, and now the prints that I do, they're based off of relief carving. And then once you have the block fully carved out, you ink the block, and then you do like a block printing on it.
Wow. And so how long does that take you?
Depends on the print. So some of the prints can take easily up to 30 hours of carving. Some of them, if they're smaller or less detailed, it could be just like maybe 4 hours. But then there is the entire printing portion of that as well, which, I mean, each print can take maybe between 15 minutes to 30 minutes just for one print as you go through the entire process. Because inking the block, you have to re-ink the block every single time that you will essentially print.
And so what, because you said it started with pisanke, so what got you into that originally, like art in general? Was there something in specific?
I like to say that I'm selectively artistic, so there's very... like, if you give me a paintbrush, I can't do if my life depended on it. So it was one of those, I really like geometric patterns, and then, or replicating different designs that I saw. And then, so with the pisanke, it was the upbringing, and through Ukrainian school or through PLAS, the Ukrainian Scouting Organization, we always used to do pisanke around the Easter time frame. And then, and then I started just getting really into it and wanting just to improve on the technique a little bit more.
Wow. And so is it like a full-time job for you? Is it a hobby? What is...
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby?
That takes up a lot of time.
But hopefully a fun hobby that...
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, one thing when I started off with this, I didn't want it to actually be a business. Okay. It was... I wanted something, like I said, reproducible. And originally, I started making them for the purpose of actually giving them away, and just being able to literally give it to friends and family. And then one thing led to another of like, oh, like I would like to buy that. I was like, okay, sure. But I never wanted it to become a full-fledged business that took away the pleasure and joy of actually the creative process.
Absolutely. I've heard a lot of creatives say that, actually, like even watching interviews with like actors or singers, like there's that, as soon as there is a monetary value to a high degree for the work that you're doing, it becomes like a work as opposed to something that you're enjoying. Like a hobby makes it sound like not enough, but like, because there's still that love there and
oh, absolutely,
the work that you do. But
I think when you can still categorize it as a hobby, then you take it to whatever length you want to go into. So at this point, if, for instance, I have a lot going on personally or professionally, then I might do a little bit less. But then I decide what events I go to, I decide where or how quickly I decide to put out a print or a new piece. So I think just having that flexibility and knowing that it is a hobby and not a profession, like you're able to maintain the joy of the creation process.
Absolutely. And I think too, it takes away the pressure of having to do it all the time.
Exactly.
Because as soon as it's like a job, it's like, oh no, having to do this 9 to 5, whatever. Like that seems like a really good way of keeping yourself accountable, but also like having the freedom to do the thing that you love to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome. And so you're at UFest this year. Is it your first year? How did that come about? What was that like?
This is the second year doing it. So first time was last year. I actually found out about UFest through some of the organizing committee, and it was one of those, hey, we're organizing, we're doing an art in the village, and I thought that it was a great opportunity to kind of get into the festival scene, and especially when you share a big tent with other artists, it kind of is a nice just general environment to it.
And so what's it like being at UFest as an artist with like people coming up and looking at your work? Like, do you enjoy having like the festival aspect of it, I guess?
It's a lot of small talk. So I guess you have to be good with small talk to a certain extent. I do enjoy it. It's definitely draining by the end of the day, just based on the amount of socializing. But at the same time, it's nice to be able to educate people on the different art forms, because lino cut isn't necessarily a very prominent art form that a lot of people are familiar with. So for instance, last year I actually brought out one of the blocks that I carved, and I brought out some of my tools so that people can actually like try the carving process to see what it actually felt like.
Cool. And what would you say the response from people was after like trying it for themselves?
how can you do that detail? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't, personally, I can't, my art is like acting or performance. Give me a paintbrush, any sort of carving tool, any pencil, oh, I am the worst, the absolute worst. So I have so much respect for artists. I love art. I know nothing about it, but I love it. So anyway, so how have you gone about mastering the skills that are required in order to produce the art that you do?
Originally, I honestly want to say that there's a number of Facebook groups that have been invaluable resources. So for instance, there's one that's called Lionel Cut Friends, and essentially it's an international group. And so you just have tons of artists from, well, around the globe. And it's one of those platforms where it's like, hey, I'm experiencing this particular issue. Like, my block's not transferring the ink properly, I'm getting some blotchiness, or I can't get the detail right. And it's just a wealth of knowledge, and everybody there is very interested in promoting it and actually helping out the new artists within the group. So anytime I do a new print, usually what I try to do is take something on that's a little bit more challenging than my previous print, or something that's a little bit more out of my comfort zone. So I constantly go back into those groups, and I mean, YouTube has been great too, but for the most part it's been those resources and a lot of just self-taught.
And so has there been a specific moment in your artistic journey that was either like the best thing ever, like an amazing success for you, or a moment that was so challenging that you're like, you know what, maybe I might just give up?
I think because I did it for the joy of doing it, there wasn't a moment that I was going to give up, because again, it's not something that my livelihood was depending on. So it was one of those that I can take a little bit of a break when I need to take a break and just focus on whether it's the technique or just all the knowledge behind how to do different things. But I do want to say that one of the better moments, or the best moments, was one of my first prints that I did. It was called Deconstructed Borscht. And so yeah, think of all the vegetables that go into your borscht. It was in there, and I made it out of the whole, I'm making this because I want to make it, and I'm gonna like give some out. And then I think maybe a year or two now, the entire limited edition sold out. So that was a very big moment. Yeah, and then I constantly still get asked, do you have any more of those? I'm like, no, I wish I kind of put a little bit of a higher number on that edition, but yeah, it was a pretty great moment.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so do you have any advice to aspiring artists out there that need guidance, I guess?
Honestly, take it wherever it's going to take you. I think that keeping your mind open to whatever that path may be, and just to always kind of keep the joy of it, so that you don't turn it into something that you dread working on, or yeah.
That's awesome advice, I think. And then last question here, also with advice, but okay. What is the best piece of advice that you've received throughout your life?
I definitely have to say, don't be afraid to fail. It's one of those things where I get in my head quite a bit. And I think that knowing that, okay, if you fail at one task, it's just a learning opportunity, but it's better to have gone through that process, and then you come out, essentially, even if you fail, you come out more knowledgeable on the other end of it.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. We'll take a look at your art.
So when you look at the print, so everything that is black is essentially what has been left, and everything that is white has been fully carved away from the original, the piece of linoleum or wood. And then in the pieces that have a secondary color to them, those have been carved using two separate blocks. The Jourevli, the cranes, that was two separate blocks, but then even those blocks were cut into smaller pieces, because the gradient is one block, then you have the sun, which is a separate one, and then everything else that's black is yet another piece. So that one essentially was two full blocks getting carved, fully, 100%. And then again with the poppy, all the red that's there is the secondary block. And then you print on top of the red. And then the kozak on the horse, that one is Druže mi stanimo stri. So that's the latest one that I just put out, actually just in time for UFest. So the name of that print actually comes from Zaporizhsky Marsh, which, if you read the lyrics of it, is very relatable to everything that Ukraine is going through right now.
Мене звати Олександр, народився і є українець. Народився в місті Кривий Ріг. Приїхав в серпні до Альберти, до Едмонтона. Дуже мені тут подобається. Трохи дивує. І одразу хотів подякувати Канаді, всім канадцям за теплий прийом. Не сподівався, коли їхав. Було лячно, але дуже дивують, дуже приємні люди. Дуже дякую.
So, this is Sasha or Alexander. He is Ukrainian, so he is from Ukraine. He was born in Kryvyi Rih, and he came to Canada in August. Цього року? So August of this year, he came to Canada. He's really enjoying it so far. When he first came, he дивувався це просто, he was surprised, just I guess by Canada and the, you know, Edmonton itself, also just how generous and kind the people are. And he's enjoying it so far, and wanted to say thank you to, you know, just anyone that he's interacted with that's been kind and yeah, helpful. Що переклала? Okay.
That's so sweet. Have you been to Tim Hortons? Do you like Tim Hortons?
Чи вже був ресторан Tim Hortons, там де кава?
Ні. Ні.
No. You have to. You have to.
Але пробував. Пробував каву. Трохи відрізняється. Обіцяю тільки пити Tim Hortons.
So Sasha says he has not tried Tim Hortons yet, but he promises that he will. He has had the coffee here and says that it is a little different, but he promises that he will only drink Tim Hortons now.
Good. You'll see. It's really good. So, what made you want to volunteer at UFest?
Чому хотів тут бути волонтером?
Але як не хотіти? Я українець, українські фестивалі, я повинен бути. Всі повинні. І всі українці, які тут знаходяться, я розумію, що тяжко, війна, але це наша спадщина. І треба бути, треба підтримувати кожного. Наша культура. Не повинен бути.
So right away Sasha says that he needs to be here and he should be here, especially now with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's keeping up with our culture, the traditions, and he also ventured to say that everyone, Ukrainian or not, that can be here should be here. Yeah, now more than ever. And подобається?
Дуже. Тільки почав.
And he says he just started, but he's enjoying it.
And is there something you're excited for about UFest in particular, like a performance or food or anything in particular? Sorry.
Тепер, що, я не знаю, чи я так правильно перекладу, але що ти найбільше хочеш бачити? Тепер, що є всі різні такі різні речі можна тут бачити, їжу покусити. А що одна річ, що хочеш тут бачити, або to try?
Найголовніше, що всі українці знають, хочуть всюди скуштувати, це є борщ. Справжній український борщ, він дуже відрізняється в різних країнах, так само наші сусіди, дякую полякам, але вони мають інший борщ, тільки в Україні. Тут ще не куштував, скуштую, попробую борщ і пізніше вам дам відповідь такий самий, як в Україні чи ні. Може найголовніша наша пам'ятка – борщ український. Дуже, направду, мене дивують, що дуже багато людей носять вишиванки і шанують вишиванку. І це дуже мене тішить, дуже радий. Побачу, я тут все хочу, все, що українське, все хочу попробувати, скуштувати і потім дам відповідь.
So right away, Sasha says the one thing that is very much Ukrainian is borscht, beet soup. But you know what? No, scratch that. It's just borscht. And it's truly a Ukrainian dish. It's a cultural dish. He says he can taste the differences, even the Polish borscht versus Ukrainian borscht. So he's really looking forward to trying that here, and he will let us know if it is true Ukrainian borscht. And he equally said that he wants to see everything at the festival, but just from what he's experienced and observed so far, a lot of the folks that are here are wearing their vyshivanke or Ukrainian embroidered shirts. And he said it's nice to see that the people are respecting and really holding that dear. So again, just keeping up with the culture and the traditions.
That's awesome. And so, last question here. What is the best piece of advice you've gotten in your life? Like some advice that you'd want to pass on to someone else?
I don't know how to say advice.
Or
Одна річ, що хтось тобі сказав, що це з тобою може не ціле життя, але що це тобі допомогло. Така одна річ, що хтось передав тобі або сказав.
Трохи не зрозумів річ. Тут чи взагалі?
Взагалі.
Ні, на жаль, ми в родині не маємо такої традиції, щоб щось передавати з покоління в покоління. Тому для мене я сам шукаю, сам з родини, наприклад, я маю старшого брата, сестру. Я сам тільки купив і сам ношу вишиванку. Тому, на жаль, в моїй родині не підтримували такі традиції. Може тут я започаткую і буду передавати.
Super. So he was saying that he has старшого брата і старшу сестру? No, молодшу. Older brother and a younger sister. That one of the things that he would like to do, and now that he's here in Canada, is to really just keep up with the culture. He gave the example of the embroidered shirt. And, I think a lot of us can relate to that, where it's easy to just kind of go with the flow and not always think about that. But, he was saying that it's more important than ever to do that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Was there anything else you wanted to say, just to wrap up?
Вже все? Чи маєш ще щось так сказати? Хочеш?
Я хочу сказати, що коли був маленький, ходив до школи, нам завжди говорили про Канаду. Що Канада – найбільша спілка українців, іноземців. Вони підтримують культуру, шанують культуру. То, що я чув, я на власні очі побачив, що так і є. Шанують, відносяться до всього українського з повагою. В Україні було, зараз все інакше, але було дуже так різне відношення до культури, до мови. Тут, дякую, ви зберегли. І сподіваюся, і далі так і буде. Дуже вам дякую.
Oh, that was very nice. So Sasha was saying that even from when he was young and going to school, he was taught that in Canada we have one of the largest settlements of Ukrainian people. Settlers from Ukraine, and that, you know, we keep up with the culture and the traditions, the language, and he says that now that he's here, he has seen it with his very own eyes, that is in fact true, and he said just a very heartfelt and genuine thank you to all of the Ukrainian Canadians who are keeping up with the culture and not forgetting it and respecting it and passing those important cultural pieces along.
Дякую.
Thank you.
I'm Kiana, I'm 24 and I'm a teacher.
I'm Brenna, I'm 25 and I'm her sister.
All right, and is this your first time at UFest?
No, I've come every year. I think you've almost come every year. I think maybe you missed one. Or...
I missed a couple. I came the first year, but I missed last year and the year before, I think. I think this is about 4 years or so now. But I wish I could come more often. It's very fun.
And so what made you start coming to UFest?
We knew that, well, with it being UFest and it's Ukrainian Fest and us being Ukrainian, we wanted to see what it was all about and the things that were going to be represented for ourselves. And then we wanted to also party because we knew that Ukrainians can definitely do that.
I think it's a really great way to introduce the community to Ukrainian culture as well, with the various shops and cuisines that are here as well.
Do you have a favorite event, food truck, or something specific like tent or event or food truck from UFest?
I absolutely love going to UFest after dark. A few years that we've come, there was a former band teacher that we had, so we've come to see his band play a few times. And then obviously to, polka and that kind of thing. If I were to choose a booth, it would be Orbit, because that one, they have all the Ukrainian attire and it's not necessarily a very popular shop around Edmonton. It's kind of hidden near Jasper Ave, so it's really nice to see it when you're here and the kind of apparel that you can buy when you're there.
I think it's also nice that all the clothing stands and tents, they really exhibit all of the beautiful embroidery. That's a huge part of the culture, and it's really it's an art form, really. And then I think one of my favorite memories is from the first time we came. We had a kolomeka in the rain. It was so fun. It was so fun.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like so much fun. But for anyone who doesn't know what a kolomeka is, could you just explain what that means?
It's like a giant dance where everybody gets involved. It's like upbeat music, and you form a giant circle and people go in the middle and show off, basically. It's a lot of fun.
And are you like former dancers? Do you have any Ukrainian dance history?
Yeah, we danced since we were like four or five.
It's about 15 years altogether we danced, yeah. It's a big part of our lives growing up, for sure.
And do you still dance?
No longer. Just too busy with life and that sort of thing. And then I don't know, kind of, we had school as well, university, but I think if we could get back into it, we would, but so yeah.
I definitely miss the memories and showing off the culture. It's very fun because Ukrainian dance, there's so many different regions in Ukraine. Each region has its own steps and music and costumes, and it was like you did all different kinds of dance all within one umbrella of Ukrainian dance. It was a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite memory from dance that you, like maybe when you first started, or a performance that really stuck out to you?
You know what? As much as I would say that I hated it, I loved competing. I used to be like, oh, I'm so nervous, I can't do this, I'm miserable, I hate it here. But every time I would compete and step on stage, it was just like such an adrenaline rush, and I'd love to relive that again. Even though, like I said, I would be like, oh, I hate that. But no, I would definitely do it again.
I think I miss the atmosphere of the team. Like, we all work together to work towards like that common goal of like a stellar performance that you want. I think one of my favorite memories from dance, I'm not much of an actor, but this is the character dance where we all dressed up as boys. That was so funny. It was hilarious.
That sounds like so much fun. And do you have any advice for like aspiring dancers who maybe want to get into it, or maybe are going through a tough time and a challenge that they feel like they should just quit? Because I think we've all been there as performers.
I think just like keep working at it. Of course, like the more you practice, the better you're gonna get. And I think lean on the people in your group as well. Like you're gonna build lifelong friendships with the people that are in those communities. So for sure.
I would just say just like put in the effort. Like obviously you're not going to see change that you might want to see if you're not going to put in 100% effort, but put in the effort. It's something that you will eventually, you'll look back on it and you'll be like, oh, I definitely enjoyed it, just kind of like we did. But yeah.
And so aside from Ukrainian dance, is there anything else that's very specific to the Ukrainian culture that maybe you did growing up or you still do that is like really important to you at all?
Yeah, growing up we made the piston kit every year. I myself took courses in university to learn the language. I sometimes will make vitinanki, which are paper cuttings. It's a different form of art that is not as well known, but also very beautiful. Just little things here and there to stay enriched in the culture. I've traveled to Ukraine. I'd love to go back when it's safe to do so. I think it's a very beautiful place and the people are very friendly and it's underrated for sure. Definitely worth seeing.
I definitely enjoy when they do Mini World Cup with soccer and to see the Ukrainians be represented and that kind of thing. I do remember, I don't even know what year it was, but we went to represent Ukraine and I remember getting in a dance costume and stepping out on the field and it was just an interesting atmosphere to be in, especially because everyone's so competitive about their background, their culture and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's definitely one thing that I enjoy as well.
I also feel like there's something about the Vinoks wearing like that beautiful headdress of flowers. It just feels so like empowering almost.
I was gonna say
yeah,
that, empowering.
I love it.
There's nothing you can't do when you have flowers tied to your head. It hurts, but it's so worth it because you look so good. But yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. And so, kind of coming back to UFest and the Ukrainian culture, what are you most excited for at the festival this year?
I would say just seeing the performances again to kind of relive like what it's like to dance, to hear the music. That's always just such a good feeling. Again, UFest after dark always is always fun to be there. It's kind of nice because it's people you've never met that get into the dancing and they get into the community and that sort of thing. So it's kind of nice to be around. It's like total strangers, but we're all kind of here for the same reason. So yeah.
I would second the UFest after dark. It's always a fun time. But yeah, I definitely listening to the music, it always makes you want to move and it kind of puts you back into the dancing that we used to do when we were younger.
And what do you think, a bit heavier of a topic, but how do you feel towards the festival with everything that's going on in Ukraine? We've spoken about it with a couple other people and we've talked about kind of that bittersweet aspect of like, it's really amazing to have refugees and people able to come here to celebrate and kind of have somewhere safe to go, but also the bitterness and kind of the sadness of obviously a war-torn country currently.
It is really interesting to see. It's nice that Ukrainians are represented in a way and they're supported by the community that they're living in.
And there are so many Ukrainians in the community here. I think Alberta has one of the largest concentrations of Ukrainians outside of Ukraine.
Canada actually has the second largest in the world. We learned that today.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so I mean, like, I hope that the refugees feel like they're at home in some sense, and especially coming here and seeing representation of the culture and kind of feeling like they belong. I think that's important.
We came in and we were walking behind like families that were speaking Ukrainian and they seemed like really eager to be here, and it's really nice to just see the culture be represented, especially, coming here. It's probably not ideal, and I know that there's been a lot of families that have wanted to go back home or they have gone back home to Ukraine, and it is a war-torn country. I do have a student in my class who is from Ukraine, and I asked him to do a writing prompt, and I asked him where his favorite place was to be, and he wrote about Ukraine because he wanted to go back home. And it's just it's really inspiring to see that we can do something that's really representative of this culture and this background, especially with it being the second largest in Canada, the population. Well, in the world, I guess, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's amazing the amount that we can do, but also, it's kind of hard as well, going back to the student in your class who kind of wanted to return to Ukraine. I also have had experience working in schools where I've noticed, like, not even like Ukrainian specific, but children who may not speak the English language, and just I think the difficulties of a teacher, because it's one teacher per like 30 students, and when you have like 29 students who all speak the same language and then one kid who doesn't, like, you don't have the support or the capacity, I think, to like hone in on that one student. And that's unfair. Yeah, and it's unfair to the student and the teacher, and like
I love Google Translate. And I have taken time to like write down like common phrases for him, or I've taken time to print out visuals for him in Ukrainian so that he had something he could use to tell me what he needed or what he wanted to do, just because I didn't want him to feel like he had like no way to tell me his needs and his wants and things that I need for him to be successful in the classroom. Especially because the school that I'm at, it's not like Ukrainian bilingual like the one I was at last year. It was, so there were people that I could ask to lean on if I needed help with something like that. But with this one being just a strictly English school, I wanted him to feel like he had the best support. So I did print like visuals and that sort of thing, and I definitely think he's come a long way from the beginning when he got here, because now he knows a little bit of English, but he knows that he can still speak like Ukrainian with me and feel comfortable in that kind of way.
That's amazing. I think that speaks volume for the kind of environment you're creating, and like genuinely I think you should be so proud of yourself, because like I've worked in classrooms and I worked with kids and teachers, and like honestly, like to hear that student is receiving that kind of support, like I think you know the importance of it because you're a teacher, but the importance and the difference that makes to the kid, because then they're feeling seen and they're feeling heard, and then they get that sense that they're important, you know, and they are. Every single student's important, and every kid is important.
We do compliments every Thursday for Thoughtful Thursday, and we write them to each other, and I made sure that when I wrote a compliment for him on his sheet that I wrote it in Ukrainian. Aww. So I had to like translate it for him, and I did the best that I could to write it in Ukrainian, and it definitely, like, I could see that he appreciated it a little bit.
Yeah. And that's just very sweet and very thoughtful, and I think that really is going the extra mile for him, and yeah, that's amazing. And so kind of coming back here to UFest and the Ukrainian culture and the festival and the celebration of everything, if you had to describe UFest in one word, what would it be and why?
Vibrant.
That's so cool. That word was used earlier today, like twice, I think.
Lively, yeah.
Home. Feels like home. This is where I want to be. Every year, this is where I want to be, for sure.
And what advice would you give to other people who are going to come to the festival or attending the festival?
Advice-wise, prepare to walk. Good luck finding parking. There's so many people that come here. It's definitely parking is slim, but you can find it. Just be prepared to walk the distance. Wear comfortable shoes, and depending on the weather, wear sunscreen. Wear your SPF.
Also, don't just think about coming. Like, come check it out. And I think, bring a little money. You're probably gonna spend some. Definitely worth checking out all the clothing booths and the food stands. It's definitely, you're not going to regret it. It's worth it.
And then, so this is my favorite question to ask people. It's not particular to the festival or Ukrainian culture or anything like that. But what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life? It's kind of broad, but any answer is acceptable.
Maybe it's not so much advice, but my dad used to say, you can't live your life in fear. So whenever I'd be anxious about something or scared to do something, you can't live your life in fear. You just got to do it.
Yeah, if it's out of your control, don't worry about it. There's literally nothing that you can do, and you are just going to exhaust yourself trying to worry about an outcome that you have absolutely no control over. So
those are awesome.
YOLO. Like literally.
And is there anything that you wish people knew about UFest?
Probably that it's, once again, like, it's definitely worth coming. it's a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot about the culture just through the music and all the various forms of art that are here. Again, it's very vibrant. It's a very rich culture.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. It's one thing I definitely do enjoy is it's free entry, like to bring your family here to kind of experience it. No one's asking you to pay money to listen to the band or to watch dancers. Like you're not expected to buy anything. It's not that kind of environment. Like it's you're here to enjoy the Ukrainian culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, kind of going back to the art that you were talking about, like the pisanki of. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Easter eggs that are like
Easter eggs.
yeah, Ukrainian Easter eggs that are decorated. I think it's really amazing with all the artwork, the amount of detail, or even like you see it in the dancing and music as well, but even in the embroidery or like in that artwork, there's so much detail and time that's taken. And granted, all art, I guess you could say, is a similar way of like it takes time and it takes effort, but like there's just, it's so particular and like intricate.
Yes,
I guess.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I do like to see the different like embroidery work that goes into like the blouses and that type of thing, just because it's so crazy, and especially because there's different like symbols like 8-point star and that kind of thing. Like there's different symbols per region and different embroidery, and again, like yes, I feel like we generalize like Ukraine, but like there are different regions, there are different like cultures and backgrounds and that type of thing, so it is really nice to see it kind of represented somewhere.
And I think it's like interesting too, because people may never know about that, and I guess this goes also for like every culture out there, but until you're put in the situation where it's kind of right in front of you, you like never have any idea about it. And I think from what it seems, UFest is like a great way to kind of come to a safe environment and just experience things. Like no one's expecting you to wear the attire or eat the food necessarily, but you have the option, and like you can
the opportunity to do so.
Exactly.
Absolutely,
you have the opportunity to like dive in and try things out.
Yeah.
And for the food trucks, can you speak a little bit to like Ukrainian cuisine, perhaps?
Ooh, yes, I can. Yeah, get your pierogies, get your kubasa. Do not say no to the onions and the bacon. You will enjoy every little bit of it.
And the sour cream.
Get your sour cream. Don't be shy. There's things that you might like question, but like I mean, not everyone's a fan of cabbage, but I can promise you that you are gonna love a cabbage roll. So just open your palate a little bit. I believe in you.
Yeah, I always think about that because my younger sister, my babcha makes cabbage rolls, and she always takes off the cabbage, eats the inside, and puts the cabbage on my plate. And like now I've grown up, so now I will eat it. But
our auntie does that, and every time she does it, I just side eye. Yeah, no, there's a lot. Like, I mean, even when you think about eating like wheat for good luck and that sort of thing, like people would definitely think that that's probably really weird, but that's just something that's so normal for us. But yeah, I definitely recommend like trying the food and definitely some of the drinks if you can get your hands on them. I recommend absolutely trying. I think it's SYC. There are some drinks that they've done here if you're 18 plus.
What's the UFest beer?
Yes, the UFest beer, and it's really good. So for those that are like, no, I don't like beer, no, you'll like it. I
drink it.
I promise you'll like it.
It's non-beer drinker approved.
I love the honest take on it. That's awesome. All right, and is there anything else that you would like to make known about UFest or the Ukrainian culture or anything like that?
Yeah. I think we touched on it a lot already. It's a very, so the word vibrant like 3 times now, but it is very vibrant and it's very lively, and it's such a diverse like culture. There's regional variation, so many different art forms between like the pisanki that we mentioned, the vitinanki, vishivanki, like the embroidery. There's dance and music, and there's so much to see. And maybe if the music's not for you, you'll find something else that you like. Even the food is an art form in a way.
Just come out and party with us. It's a good time, I promise.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We just finished up at UFest, or are winding down. I apologize for my makeup. We've been here literally all day, and so I probably look like a mess, and Rochelle just told me to fix my hair. It's going great. We're off to a really good start. But we wanted to talk about some of the highlights and some of the amazing things that UFest brought for us today. I'll start, and then perhaps halfway through I'll switch with Rochelle, and she can chat a little bit about what her experience was like. So, I'm Ukrainian, and I think this is my first time at UFest, which is like really crazy to me and mind-boggling because I don't know how I've never come before, especially being like an old ex-Ukrainian dancer, and my family's just heavily involved in the Ukrainian community. I've ran into like 10 people I know, like said hi, super cute stuff, but it's just super weird to me that I've never been here before. Pop-off Kings, they're playing baseball over there. Anyway, the dancers, amazing. The band, incredible. The food, so yummy, just all of it. I mean, we didn't get to try all of it, obviously, because that would be a lot of food. There's a lot of food trucks, so you need 2 days for sure to try all of the food. And the people. Every single person I have met today has been so kind and so sweet, from the volunteers who gave their time and like chatted with us to random festival goers who we just ran into who also gave us their time and chatted with us, got to know us, told us their story, shared their story, which is, I think, one of the best parts for me of today. I don't think I worded that correctly, but one of the best parts of today for me was just kind of getting to hear what the experience has been like for other people. Especially, I think, now, based on what's happening in the world, in Ukraine. It really hits close to home for a lot of people, especially here in the Ukrainian community. I've learned that Canada has the second largest Ukrainian population, which I don't know why. That's just like so, not surprising. But I guess I didn't expect that. Yeah, and I think it's just really sweet how everyone is so nice and everyone is so willing to share their story and talk to us and kind of give a part of who they are to us. And I'm sure that many people in many different cultures and many different walks of life would be a similar way. Today was just my experience with it and seeing firsthand what it's like for people and coming, like fleeing a war-torn country and then literally arriving 4 days ago. We talked to a couple people in that situation when it's been like their first week in Canada or they've just recently come back. And I think it just really puts into perspective life and what's important and how we get super tied up in the hustle and the bustle of Canadian culture of like, oh, you have to work, oh, you have to make money, oh, this is what's important, buy cute clothes, look cute, have a nice car, have a nice house, da, 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 da. And then when it comes down to it, it's like, as long as you're happy and you're surrounded by people you love in an environment that makes you feel safe and like wholesome, then I think you're doing pretty okay. I mean, maybe this is just my like soapbox moment. Rochelle's probably standing behind the camera being like, okay, Bridget, wrap it up. But like, this has just been like a really amazing experience for me. Like, everyone has just been so nice. Like, I was trying on vyshyvanki, which are the Ukrainian blouses, and the woman who was selling them was such a sweetheart, and I was trying on a couple different ones, trying to find what looks best on me. Everything looks great on me, but no, I'm just kidding. I was trying to find which one looks best on me, and then I had one that I like kind of liked, and I tried on another one, and I was like, oh, maybe this one, and she was like, no. She was like, the other one, your color. She's like, trust me. And it was just like so cute and so sweet because I didn't know this lady, and like she was right. It was the cuter option and the better one, but I don't know. It's just like moments like that I remember that we're humans on a planet occupying a space. And everyone is just a human on a planet occupying a space. And I know this totally sounds like a soapbox moment, and people are going to watch this and be like, where was she going with this? And the honest answer is I have no idea. But it's been a long day. Maybe I've had too much sun. Maybe I haven't drank enough water. But I don't know. I just think life is super wild and crazy, and you should be grateful for the moments you have. You should be grateful for the moments you have. Sorry, one of the baseball players ran by me. You should be grateful for the moments that you have and the people you're surrounded with, because things are incredible. Life is important. You are important, and live your best life. And I think that's what I have to say. So maybe I'll switch with Rochelle, and she can chat with you a little bit about what her day has been like.
So right before I switch, I'd like you to show us what you bought, because it is gorgeous.
This is my Vyshyvanka. It has a little tie that goes around the waist. But you can see the intricate embroidery. And I just want to heed fact to that, because the amount of work it would have taken to stitch this is beyond me. And I'm super untalented in all art forms except speaking. Let me tell you that right now. If it doesn't involve like performance, I'm not good at it. So I have mad respect for artists of all kinds, whether that be fashion or painting or drawing or sculpting. I've learned about so many art forms today that I didn't even know existed. Like, some of them I did, but some of them I didn't. And it's just crazy how talented people are.
So I'm Rochelle, like most of you know. This is also my first UFest. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think I've heard about it before, but I'm also like kind of like stay in my room, keep to myself kind of girl. Vibrant is a beautiful way to describe this place. Like, the people, the art, just like even before the festival opened, like just the volunteers, everyone had a smile on their face. I had people coming up to me and chatting with me, like just were super nice. Everyone was super kind. And it's like, it really is like one big family. Like, as soon as you walk through those gates, like, it doesn't matter who you are. There's people of all different ethnicities, all different ages coming here. And it's really like a beautiful thing. That's really all I can say about it. It's just beautiful. The food trucks, you have Ukrainian food. You have some like mini donuts. There's ice cream. There's so much to do if you're over the age of 18. There's different beers here, some that are made specifically for UFest, which is very cool, may I add. If you're a parent and you want to come here and have a little fun, but you have some kids, there's a big field behind us. There's a bunch of kids playing. It's adorable. There was a petting zoo. They brought in a fire truck and some firemen to kind of like show around the fire truck. You could take pictures with it, which was super cool. There's also this really cool thing called Glass of Sask, or Glass of the Sask. And it's a free water station. So you bring a water bottle or you bring your cup, whatever you have, and you can just fill up your water bottle, which is like, just once again shows how like amazing these people are. Because you go to some like bigger events and you need to pay $5 for like a little tiny thing of water. And here they're like, no, like, we want you to have, like, be happy. We don't need your money. We want you to like come here, feel like a family, you know, listen to some music. If you want food, like, buy some food. But it's a beautiful experience. I think everyone should at least come once in their lifetime. It was a beautiful day today too. I got a little bit of a sunburn, but that's fine. Aloe vera can't say. Exactly, just a little aloe vera when I get home. We're fine. Beautiful. Like, I'm half Ukrainian, but like, mixed people kind of know you don't really have like a side, and so it's very hard for at least like me to feel a part of a culture. And as soon as I stepped in here, I felt like at home. So it was really nice. Also, didn't know that how many Ukrainians that Canada like housed, which I thought was crazy. We're the second, like, apart from Ukraine, the second largest kind of community of Ukrainians, which I thought was very cool. I also am like a little bit Polish, and their like surprise like country was Poland, which I thought was really cool. I felt a little bit more at home. Just everything about here is very, very beautiful. Even like the people that don't like only speak Ukrainian, like, you can just tell how something like this means to them. And I think it's very beautiful, and I think you should definitely come and check it out.